we've got to get past some of the rhetoric that gets perpetuated that breaks down trust and is so over the top that it just shuts down all discussion. And it's important for all of us when we hear that kind of talk to say, hold on a second. You know, if there are any folks who are out there right now who are gun owners, and you've been hearing that somehow if somebody's taken away your guns, get the facts.
We're saying it louder than anybody. Enforce the federal gun laws. They're not doing it. Put armed security in the schools. Fix the mental health system. The media, they may not like it. They're screaming to the rafters for all this gun ban agenda. I think the American public is seeing through it and saying, I don't want that imposed on me.
President Obama in Colorado this week trying to regain some lost momentum in his effort to get more gun laws passed. And in response there, NRA President Wayne LaPierre trying to fend off some of the rhetoric and focus the debate. A debate that has pretty much been one-sided in the media. Case in point.
We've got a Texas Senator, Ted Cruz, who won't let the Senate hold a Democratic vote on gun safety. So, no democracy. We've got people out there using guns to get even with public officials, intimidating those they don't kill. This is where we are with guns in this country. Second Amendment remedies being executed on public officials.
Scott Whitlock at Newsbusters took a look at that clip, Jim, and said that Matthews is clearly unhinged, trying to tie the Tea Party to Ted Cruz, the Texas senator, and suggesting that somehow they were complicit in the murders of that Texas prosecutor and his wife.
Right. I mean, look, this is a case where the media are, I think, leading the story. I think they've dragged the Obama administration back into it in a big way over the last week. And yet, even as the media are trying to drive the administration, with some success, they're also confusing the story and badly in the public. There's really three issues here. One is gun restrictions, probably dead at the federal level, not at the state level. Second issue is background checks, where even Asa Hutchinson told Will Blitzer on CNN, yeah, we could consider the NRA, we could consider background checks. And the third problem is, because the media loves to cover sort of exciting outrider stories, to them at least, like Carolyn McCarthy, the congresswoman from New York State, who has a $10,000 insurance bond plan, which she has a grand total of 8 co-sponsors, which is to say it's going nowhere, and yet 100% of talk radios, I'm sure Monica would know, has all over that saying, look, this is where their real agenda is, headed toward some vast federal database on guns, and I think that therefore clouds any prospects for even minimal gun control.
Judy, we know you're in favor of more gun control, but I want to read you this from Campbell Brown, the former CNN and NBC anchor. She wrote in the Wall Street Journal this week, the president's campaign against gun violence has produced a stale debate marked by lots of speeches with little achieved. A more creative chief executive would have used this moment to widen the discussion by drawing attention to the increasingly graphic violence so pervasive in television shows, movies, and video games. What do you think about that position? Anybody else talking about that?
Well, I think people are starting to talk about it. We've talked about it on this show. Joe Klein talked about it in a slap at the administration this week when he mentioned the president's implementation problem and his tendency to confuse giving a great speech with having a strategy for implementing the proposals that he must have known from the beginning were doomed in the Senate. I mean, I think that if he had acted more quickly, if he had acted immediately, when people were still very upset about what happened in Connecticut, the school shooting, he might have stood some chance. But I think at this point it's just kind of cynical speech giving to suggest that he really cares about this.
The NRA held a news conference on Tuesday talking about what it calls its School Shield program, the idea of putting armed guards in schools, you know, talking about enhanced mental health screening and so forth in this country. It didn't get a lot of positive press, should it? I mean,
I don't find the NRA calling for more guns to be really a positive plan. I mean, that's their agenda. So now we want more guns. We need guns in the schools. It's just, that's of course going to be their solution. But if you watch all of that interview that you showed at the beginning with Wayne LaPierre, and Megyn Kelly really grilled him and did a great job, he doesn't come off as an honest broker to me. You know, so I don't know why he's supposed to be treated like he's somebody who's really trying to solve this problem, when in fact he just has his agenda. Fine. His agenda is just to fight any kind of gun control at every turn, even when Megyn really pinned him down, talking about how 11 school children probably survived the shooting because the shooter didn't have the clips or the magazines that he would have liked to have. Wayne LaPierre never answered that question. He just gave talking points.
But one of the parents of one of the Sandy Hook victims, Mark Mattioli, was also at that Wayne LaPierre news conference. He actually applauded the NRA, called it a comprehensive program, but because I guess he isn't touting the line that most in the press seem to like, his story didn't get a lot of attention.
Did not get much coverage this week at all, and you can maybe say that the messenger is not the best, but the message is a legitimate point, and we should be having this discussion, and the press just refuses to cover the other side or covers it at the bare minimum. The other thing that I find that the press has not been covering is the fact that, yes, the president's gun control agenda is dead in the Congress, but why is that? The media has been almost solely focused on the NRA and Republicans and the threat of a filibuster possibly in the Senate over gun control, but actually the biggest obstacle is Democrats. Democrats who are up for re-election in big red states with big gun cultures in their states next year. Neither Harry Reid nor Barack Obama really want to fight that battle right now. So the biggest obstacle are the Democrats. You have a rift in the Democratic Party right now between the far left and the pro-Second Amendment Democrats, and that is not being covered.